What's going on, everyone? Adam Avin back here in my little basketball corner. There's a lot of construction going on outside my house, so I apologize if it's a bit distracting. Hopefully, there's not too much buzzing and stuff going on. But no matter how much construction is going on right outside of my room, it wasn't going to stop me from coming on and filming a new episode of Make Your Point, talking about how the NBA offseason has already been a roller coaster of emotions. Trades and free agents, a lot of free agent talk going on right now, and it obviously got kicked off in a really strong way. I was kind of waiting a little bit to come on and film and be on here and talk about it, waiting for some more stuff to happen, and then right off the bat, obviously a really big trade took place last week. Bradley Beal gets traded to Phoenix. That was obviously wild for me. You see my Heat posters behind me. The Heat were in deep talks with the Wizards, reportedly, on trying to get Bradley Beal. He's been a name that has been attached to Miami for as long as I can remember, at least the past 3 or 4 years. Every time there's talks, the Wizards are looking to move on from Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal's he's going to request a trade soon. The Heat are always in that conversation. This was a time where I was like, if Dame isn't really on the table right now, the Heat should just jump at it, get Bradley Beal. They put together a good package enough for that trade to get done without Tyler Hero in it. But ultimately, the Wizards didn't want to take on all the Heat's money. Duncan Robinson has a big contract. Kyle Lowry has a big contract. And, as much as, I think that trade is probably as even with what the Suns gave up, obviously the contract has a lot to do with it. So, the Wizards went in a different direction. But I think the thing that kind of annoyed me the most was that, it was, Bradley Beal says Miami's the place. Bradley Beal says, yeah, he's been connected with them. That's the destination he's going to go to. He had the no trade clause. So not only does that mean that he has the say of what team he goes to, but also what is in the trade. So, he was the one that forced himself to go to Phoenix. So, for a while there, it just looked like we were going to get another all NBA guy who can drop 30 in his sleep, a former Florida Gator. Watched him growing up. He's a great basketball player. Was positive there for a minute, thinking that he was going to come down to Miami, but ultimately he went in a different direction, and now Phoenix probably has the best front four in basketball, right? I mean, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, DeAndre Ayton. I don't know another four in the league right now that really that's really as dominant as that four. But they don't have a bench. They don't have depth. Phoenix hasn't won anything. They haven't proved that they could win when it was Chris Paul there, and Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton. Then they get Kevin Durant. They get bounced by the Nuggets, which I don't think anyone expected. Obviously, the Nuggets ended up winning the championship. They're well deserving. But when you have a team with Devin Booker, Kevin Durant on it, and Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton, you expect that team to do well, and people instantly thought of them as contenders, as championship contenders. And then, they obviously go out, they trade for Bradley Beal, and now people are back again saying that they're the best team. They're going to be the best team in the West. They have the strongest pieces, which I don't disagree. They have 3 all-stars, all-NBA guys, a fourth guy in DeAndre Ayton, who has proven himself to be a very solid basketball player with a lot of potential. Obviously has had his issues there in Phoenix, but can be a good part to that team. The thing is, if one of those guys goes down, you're back at a starting point. You have your big 3, big 4 there, but you have no other pieces on that team that are going to be able to step up and contribute as much as those guys. I think that was what was so special about the Heat, was that they have this next man up mentality, this team basketball. The Nuggets as well. You saw guys like Christian Brown and Bruce Brown and Jeff Green stepping up when you need to, and that doesn't always mean the coach is going so deep into the rotation, but they were just stepping up when the moment was there. And even when the Suns traded for KD and they gave up their bench depth, you never really saw a guy on their bench rise to the moment. And when you're going up against a team like the Nuggets in the playoffs, you're going to need those people. And I'm just worried that the Suns haven't been able to figure it out so far. Maybe Bradley Beal is the missing piece. Maybe he's going to bring something to the table that they weren't able to do with Chris Paul. I think Bradley Beal is an amazing player, and that big three of Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and Kevin Durant is certainly worth the recognition of being considered as the best team in the league. But they're gonna have to. But I don't know. I'm still under the impression that they're gonna have to prove it. That's just what I'm thinking. Obviously, they're three great basketball players. Can't say enough of them. But yeah, this trade kicked off the summer. The draft is tonight. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And free agency officially starts on June 30th, I think. So 8 days from now. And then all trades and stuff can go and get processed July 9th. So, all these teams are finalizing deals and scouting, free agents right now. And Chris Paul from this trade ends up in Washington. They're looking to buy him out or find a potential trade destination. Already the Clippers, a possible reunion have been considered for Chris Paul. So I'm interjecting this video into the episode I just filmed. I literally stopped 2 minutes ago. No joke. It's like 3:20 right now in the afternoon, June 22nd, the day of the draft. And I 5 minutes ago, while I was filming, while I was ending the episode, again, I just got off and I saw on my phone that a trade had been finalized. Chris Paul got dealt from Washington to Golden State for Jordan Poole. I don't even know how that doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, you got Chris Paul and Steph on the same team. I don't really know what that does. I mean, it's just, a really good playmaking. But now you got Chris Paul, you got Steph, Jordan Poole's in Washington with Tyus Jones and Denny Avdija. So, yeah. I don't even know what to say. I just saw it right now. Enjoy the rest of the episode. See ya. Yesterday, there are reports that Kristaps Porzingis could be on the move to Boston. And that's something where I was like, oh, no, as a Heat fan, I'm like, oh, great. Like, oh, okay, they got Kristaps. I mean, he's obviously dealt with his injuries and stuff, bounced around over the past few seasons, but still a really good weapon for a team like the Celtics to have. He's a 7-foot power forward. He was Wembanyama before Wembanyama, or he was the unicorn, right, when he was coming in. And so, Kristaps is definitely a good piece that after Bradley Beal got traded to the Suns, I was like, that Kristaps Porzingis, keep an eye on him because Kuzma just declined his option. And now Kristaps Porzingis, they might be blowing up the whole team. The Heat could go after that guy. He might be the big stretch four that the Heat have needed. Another tall guy that can shoot the three. And in case Kevin Love doesn't come back or something like that. But obviously, then I see this report he's going to Boston. I was like, oh my god, dang it. And then the deal, what was going on with that trade was it was going to be Kristaps going to Boston, and Malcolm Brogdon going to the Clippers, and other pieces going to the Wizards in return. Don't remember exactly what, but that was the original trade. And then hours later, it's reports that the trade fell apart. It's not happening. And I'm pretty sure less than an hour later, it's like, nope, trade has been finalized. It's 1 a.m. I'm getting ready to go to sleep. And my phone starts blowing up. I've seen all these alerts on my phone, all these Twitter, Instagram alerts. It's like, oh, nope, 3-team deal, Kristaps Porzingis, and 2 first-round picks to Boston, Tyus Jones, Danilo Gallinari, Mike Muscala, and a second-round pick to Washington, and Marcus Smart to Memphis. The rest of it I didn't even care about. When I saw Marcus Smart was going to the Grizzlies, I was like, my jaw dropped. I was like, what is going on right now? I think Marcus Smart's a perfect fit there, but he is the heart and soul of that Celtics team. He was the longest tenured player on that team, and he had proven himself when he came into the league, he didn't play, the pure point guard position. He made an impact on the defensive side, shot the ball. And then as he kind of took the reins after Kemba and after Kyrie left the Celtics, he's played point for the past few years, and it's been really strong for them. I mean, they went to the NBA Finals once to get Game 7 again, Game 7 twice against the Heat in the Eastern Conference Finals. He has been a big part of the Celtics team, and I know just by speaking with my Boston friends or looking online, the Celtics fans are not happy about this. But sometimes you have to pay the price to get another weapon like Kristaps Porzingis, and unfortunately that means giving up a guy like Marcus Smart, who has been there a while and means a lot to that team. I just saw a couple, tweets an hour ago that said Marcus was shocked when he got traded. He thought he was going to retire there. He thought he was going to be there for his whole career. You hate to see that happen, but Memphis did just get another guy. He's going to help them. Tyus Jones, obviously in Washington now, but Marcus Smart's going to be able to play the point guard position while Ja is suspended for the first 25 games of the season. So we're going to see what Marcus is going to be able to do there. Now the Grizzlies have 2 Defensive Player of the Year winners. The past 2 on their team, Jaren Jackson Jr. and Marcus Smart. Malcolm Brogdon not being traded, and the reason that trade fell apart in the first place with the Clippers was because of Malcolm Brogdon's injury. Obviously, in the NBA Finals, he injured his elbow, I believe, and he got surgery on it, and the injury concern there was just too much for the Clippers to continue on with that deal. But Brad Stevens has been amazing as a GM so far, as president of basketball operations. He got 2 first-round picks and Kristaps Porzingis. All he really had to give up was Marcus Smart. Washington, I don't even know how they traded away Bradley Beal. They traded away Kristaps Porzingis, and they didn't get a single first-round pick. I mean, that is, bad managing to me. The biggest thing that has been on my radar, that has been on Heat fans' radars, has been Damian Lillard. Obviously, that has kind of been on a roller coaster for me over the past a long time, but definitely the past week or two. Damian Lillard, top 75 player, all NBA player, all star, one of the greatest shooters and point guards of all time. Portland has kind of been on the outs for a while now. They were bad enough last season to the point where they were like, yeah, you don't need to play in the last 10, 20 games of the season. You can sit, you can rest, you don't need to play. And so Damian Lillard, there have been reports that he wants out, that he was going to request a trade. And of course, because everyone gets tied to Miami, Miami was in the rumor mill. And people were saying, oh, if Dame requests a trade, he's going to go to the Heat. And you don't really believe that. You're like, oh, yeah, I wish that could happen, until he actually came out and said it himself. Damian Lillard could, oh, yeah, Bam's my dog. I want to go to the Heat. Oh, I'd love Miami. It's definitely a top choice. And he mentioned some other teams there, too. But focusing on the Heat for a second, the Heat have, what's been annoying to me and a lot of Heat fans over the past few years has been, the Heat are shooting for the stars instead of focusing on what's right in front of them. So in 2020, rumors that Giannis could leave the Bucks and go to the Heat. So we're going to focus on Giannis. We're going to miss out on any other player that can help Jimmy and Bam and them. In 2022, KD mentions Phoenix and Miami as a certain piece, and instead of going and instead of focusing on guys like Donovan Mitchell, who was hanging out with Bam in Miami and stuff, and focusing on other guys, they're putting all their chips on the table for KD. They miss out on KD. Now every other player's gone. And then it's the same thing this year with, Bradley Beal's right here. Dame has not officially requested a trade yet. And now all these reports are coming out and saying the Heat felt that if the Heat really wanted to try and get Bradley Beal, they would have. But they want to see what happens with Dame and the Trailblazers. So it's just annoying from a standpoint of you're sitting here waiting to see what happens with Portland, and then if Dame does decide to leave and then he doesn't end up coming to Miami, or he decides to stay in Portland for God knows how long, then you missed out on another opportunity to get any other free agents and to get more pieces around Jimmy and Bam to help them contend for a title now. They've been to 2 NBA finals in the past 4 seasons. This is a win now team. There have been conflicting reports that say Dame wants to either stay in Portland. Some have said that Brian Windhorst has been on TV saying, Portland isn't looking to trade him. They've turned away calls, but he also has been very vocal that he doesn't want a youth movement. He doesn't want to be a part of a rebuild. He wants to contend for a championship. And it's not to say that a guy like Scoot Henderson and Brandon Miller can't come in and add a certain number of games to their win column, and put them in a winning position to maybe be a play-in team or be a playoff team and contend for a championship. But it's just very, very unlikely that next year or in the next couple of years that could happen for the Trailblazers. So for a guy like Damian Lillard, who, the clock is ticking. I mean, he's on Dame time. He needs to hurry up and find a team and a place that he can contend and win a championship with. And Miami is that place, and he's been vocal about that, and a place that's been connected to him. It's clear to him and to analysts and reporters that he'd prefer that the Trailblazers trade the number 3 pick and try and get a vet that would want to play with him. And so, that's just all something there, and it put in my emotions in a twist. And, Damian Lillard, we're going to see what happens. What I could totally see happening is Scoot Henderson or Brandon Miller, whoever tries to convince Dame, hey, stay with me. Let's try this out. Let's win. I got faith. We're going to work hard together. We'll work out together. We're going to build some chemistry, and we're going to try and go on a run this season. And if things don't start working out, then pre-trade deadline, Damian Lillard says, guys, I want to leave. I want to contend for a title. This season's already over. I don't want to sit the last 20 games of the year just because of how bad we are. So send me on my way. But that makes you think, why not just do it during this offseason right now around the draft, so you can move pieces around, sign free agents, and start that rebuild earlier with Dame already on his way. He was loyal to you for a long time. It'd be nice if they were to split and give them that time to go on and try and win a championship. Speaking of draft picks, the NBA draft is tonight. Victor Wembanyama, obviously the number 1 pick. It was basically decided right from when the draft lottery was. It was decided a long time ago, but ESPN sent Brian Windhorst to Paris, God forsake, to interview Victor Wembanyama and literally asked him, how does it feel you're going to San Antonio? So Victor's going to San Antonio with the number 1 overall pick. No surprise there, but there is still a lot of confusion on what the Hornets and Trailblazers will do with the number 2 and 3 picks. Will it be Brandon Miller? Will it be Scoot Henderson? Will they trade? The Heat still have the 18th pick, so we don't know if Miami is going to try and use that 18th pick in a trade. Will they draft a guy and then trade him for Dame later, like they did with Precious Achiuwa, and then they traded him for Kyle Lowry? He had a little bit of success in Toronto this past year, so could be someone on the move there. We don't really know. But after the NBA draft and as free agency starts to, ramp up as this offseason continues on this summer, we'll come back on. We'll talk about it a little bit more. Tune into the NBA draft tonight. You might see a big trade go down, and as a Heat fan, I'm just sitting here waiting. I'm waiting for them to make a move, for something to happen. I don't think I'm fully for running it back. I'm not fully against it. I'm kind of in the middle. I'd love to see them add some other pieces. I know some Heat fans want Brook Lopez, but I don't know if I could do Brook Lopez. Other players that have declined player options: Bruce Brown, Kyle Kuzma, Chris Middleton. All good players, probably looking for more money, I assume. And those teams, I just don't think can pay that kind of money. They're all asking for a lot. But we'll see what happens. So with that being said, for myself, Adam Avin, this has been another episode of Make Your Point, everybody. Thank you so much for watching.